It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IO, the editor 644. And in today's tutorial, it happens to be a continuation on the course PCR372. And in today's tutorial, we are going to be talking about early warnings and conflict prevention. All right, PCR372. So we've been talking about early warnings, all right, from the very beginning of the course. But what we are going to be very particular and intentional about in today's class is conflict prevention. Okay, early warning and conflict prevention. Now, the relationship between early warning and conflict prevention has been well, all right, documented. Now, these have informed the consensus that early warning is basically an instrument, all right, of preventive diplomacy. Okay, early warning is an instrument of preventive diplomacy. Okay, it is an instrument of preventive diplomacy, which involves both state and non-state actors at different stage in a complementary manner. Okay, it involves, now this is the relationship which involves actors both actors of states and non-states, government and non-governmental personnel, states and non-states at direct or at different stages, state and non-state at different stages. What are we talking about here? Early warning and conflict prevention. They work hand in hand. So the relationship between the two of them is that early warning itself is an instrument for preventing, all right, instrument of preventive diplomacy, and that's what it's all about. Conflict prevention. All right, we have early warning, like we said earlier. It's not good enough to realize this shortcomings or realize that conflict can happen soon, and you are not taking any action. It's better not to even observe or to have noticed it than for you to notice it and not take any reasonable action. It's that would be very, very detrimental. Okay, so now early warning itself is an instrument of preventive diplomacy. Okay, so we have that as that. Some of the difficulties, right? There are certain difficulties of conflict prevention. In as much as you intend to prevent this conflict, but there are still difficulties you come across. Now, the difficulty of conflict prevention is often that we can predict, the eruption of violence, all right, which is early warning, but that adequate early action is not taken. All right. So now this is what I'm saying. What I've been saying. The difficulty of conflict prevention is we can predict. I'm noticing something. Then predict the eruption. All right. Of a conflict, which is early warning. All right, but the problem is not taking adequate early action, but not taking adequate early action. That's one of the challenges. Okay, and it's very sad if you had realized that there's a problem around the corner and nothing was done thereafter. All right. So now, we want to consider response level of to early warning signs. All right, in the prevention of conflict. All right, different response level based on the size of the community. Now, small community level, one of the suggested response level to early warning are the local government. All right, so at the small community level, all right, local government should take responsibility. On what we call communal level, all right, highlights the role of religion organization on the communal level. All right, responsibilities are more on the shoulder of religious organizations like churches and mosques. All right, and on the interstate level, all right, where we have the ombudsman, ombudsman, okay, or slash ombud slash both women. All right, what are we talking about here? Referring to an official appointed to investigate, okay, individuals complain against an organization. They are called ombudsman or ombudswoman. Now, on interstate level, so the role of ombudsman and ombudsman, ombudswoman and ombudswomen, okay, cannot be underestimated. However, the proper institutional framework and attitude must be present for it to serve, all right, the objective in its context. So we have that as that. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be a long class, it's going to be a very short one. So we're going to call it a wrap here for today. And just before we call it a wrap, I want us to touch on, all right, it says here, response step to early warning signs of conflict. Okay, basically is what we've talked about before now, but let's just touch on it very quickly. It says, what are the response steps? We talk about early action. So speaking of early action, what are the response steps to early warning signs of conflict? One, gather more information about the situation. Reduce vulnerability. Alert forces and citizens abroad to reduce their exposure and susceptibility, all right, or susceptibility to attacks of all kinds. Increase readiness. Like I always say, on the stream, we don't encourage violence. All right, we don't instigate or encourage violence. What we do here is purely education. All right, so based on the course material we are teaching on, all right, so we follow. So please note that this is as a disclaimer. So you gather more information, reduce vulnerability, all right, reinforce commitment, all right, then take measures to reduce potential, all right, political or economic costs that could result from emerging crisis. So thank you very much, everyone. Here is what we call the wrap for today. And in our next class, we're talking about missed opportunities. Do have a wonderful evening and bye for now. Okay.